In this video, we will be creating the layout for the site. As you can see, we have this Nav Bar section and this footer section everywhere on the site. So this layout is going to be consistent across the site, and we will be coding this layout in this video. And now we will be creating some pages that we will need in the site. For example, we will be having a business page, so business.js, and then politics.js, which will have all the news related to politics, and then we will have another page for sports. I think this will do. We have business and home page where all the news will be at one place, and then politics, and then sports. Okay, so let's just fill them with basic information, and you don't need to import React here. So we have export default function business, and then you can write hi from business. We just want to check it. For politics, we can have the same thing, and then for the sports, we will do the same. Let's see if this is working. So in the website, you are at the home page, and if you click politics, you should be redirected to the politics page. As you can see, it has compiled now. So the politics page is compiled, and we can see hi from politics. Similarly, we have sports, and it's saying hi from sports, and business. So you can see that the Nextjs take care of the routing for us by default, and here we are at home. So now that we have created all the pages, what we want next is to have a components folder and in the root directory. So create components, and inside the component we will have layout component. This layout component will decide the overall look of the site, because it will be having the nav bar and the footer for the site. So to create the layout component, type in export default function layout, and it will take children as prop, and then it will return as div, and then in the first div we will have nav bar, and between the nav bar we will have children that we destructured here as props, and then we will have footer. Now we will be coding these nav bar and footer later, but let's check out how this works. So inside the index you have hi from home, but now we want to use the layout here. So what we would like to do is hi from home, and then you can do, actually what you can do is use the layout. And then you can pass something inside it, for example inside layout, and I've auto imported it here. I've auto imported the layout here, and let's see how this works. So as you can see, we have the layout. So what layout does is whatever is passed inside the layout, it wraps it with a nav bar at the top and the footer at the bottom. Okay, so this is how the layout will work. And if you see on the site, so this is the site that has already been coded. The layout will have the nav bar. This is the nav bar portion. This is the children props that will be passed, and then we will have footer. So let's just first code the nav bar, and first we will code the stock part. So we will remove the hi from home, then we will have nav bar, then we will have inside layout, and then we will have footer. So let's code. In the nav bar we will have some classes. First of all, we will have padding x of 2, but on medium or upward screens we will have padding x of 24. We will have a background of black and text of white, and it will have the flex display and we will use justify between for space, and then it will have a height of 16. This is for the top part of the nav bar. Inside this we will have a link, and this is a special link from Nextjs package. Inside it we will have a link which we will import from the Nextjs package, and let's import it. Next/link, and the link has one property that has href, and this will go to the home because this is going to be the brand icon, and inside it we will have an a item, and inside it we will have an anchor tag, and we will have a class name for this anchor tab. It will have text white, uppercase, and the text would be 2XL, and this will also have a display of flex, and it will have align baseline property, and then we have a padding horizontal of 10, and then we will have margin Y of auto, and inside this we can have a name. I will name it channel 21. You can name it whatever you want, but we also want an icon before it. For this I'll be using an astronaut icon, which we can import from the React icons library we just installed. So let's write GI astronaut helmet, and then you can close it in the self-closing tag. But we can have, and now we will have some class names inside it. It will have an inline display, and the text would be of 4XL, and it will have a margin right of 4. Now we would have to import this GI astronaut helmet. So to import it, type in import GI astronaut helmet, and we will be importing it from React icons /GI. Okay, so now that we are done here, after this we will have another div that will be okay. So this part has been coded. We need to save this, and let's see how it looks. Okay, so it's still compiling, as you can see from here, and yeah, it's working. But now we don't need hi from home, so let's just remove this. In the index we will delete this part, hi from home, so that we are now somewhat similar here. And now we will have a search bar here like this. So let's just do that. Inside the layout we will have another div, and the div will have classes of flex and item center, and this width would be 1/3 of the total available width, and the text would be of size large, and then we will have input of type text, and we will have class names, and the class names would be that the background would be transparent, and it will have a border at bottom. It will have a width full, that is the full width it can take of its parent container, and its border would be white, which will be at the bottom, and then it won't have any outline. So now that we have the input, we will also need a search icon. For that we will use fi search, and we can have, and let's close this tag, and the fi search will have class names. Now if you save it right now, first of all we have to import the fi search because we haven't imported it. So let's import this fi search, and this would be imported from react icons /fi. So if you see it right now, we have the search icon, but it's small, and also it's on the right side of the input, but we want it to be inside of this input. So let's change a few things and add a few classes. For that, do a negative margin on the left of 8 and make it a little bit bigger. So for that, do text to Excel, and then on hover, what we want is the text to run red, dark red. So on hover, what we want is for the icon to turn dark red. That's why we have hover text red 600, and then on hover we also want the cursor to be a pointer. So let's do this and see the changes. So now you see it's on the search bar, and then when you hover it, it has a pointer and the color changes. Okay, so after that, what we want is to have another div that will have those notification icon, bell icon. So now we will have a outline bell icon and a user icon here. So for this, we will add some classes here. That is, it will have flex, item center, and text to Excel. And inside here, we will have first thing that will be AI outline bell, and enclose this tag, and then we will have another tag that will be AI outline user. Okay, and then we will have class names that will be margin right 2 and cursor pointer, and on hover, what we want is these icons to turn red. So yeah, we have almost same here, but let's just change a few things. Let's just turn it to user and remove this. So now it should work, but we need to import these. For that, let's import these here, react icon and AI. So this should work. Let's check. Yeah, it's working. But alright, so let's remove this, and now we have the nav bar working. It's similar to this, and now what we want is to code this second part, that is this section, to code this. And now what we want is to code this section of the nav bar. And yeah, let's do this. For this, we will have a div, and the div will have these classes. It will have a padding x of 2, and on medium or above skins, it will have a padding x of 24, and it will have a background of white, and display would be flex, and border, it will have a bottom border, and the border would be black. Alright, so inside this we will have a link, the first link, and this will have a href. This will be home, obviously, and the text would be home, but we will wrap it inside an anchor tab. But the anchor tab will not have any href, but it will have some classes, and this would be home. And let's put the classes for the anchor tab. It will have a margin right of 10, and the text would be Excel. It will have a margin top of 5. It will have a padding. It will have a padding x of 5. It will have a border of 2. It will have a border of width 2, but the border would be transparent, and when you would hover it, the border color would change from transparent to black. Alright, so let's check if this works. Okay, so we had put this inside this div and we have to remove it. We will remove it from inside this div and code it here. So now we check this should work, and yeah, it's working, but we need a few more links. For that we will just repeat these 3 times, and inside this we will have politics, and let's do politics, and we have business, and we'll repeat it one more time for sports. So let's see if this works. Yeah, home, politics, business and sports, and you can see at the bottom we have home, politics, business and sports. Let's check if this is working. So hi from sports, and hi from politics, and hi from business. Okay, so this is working. And now we will code the footer. Okay, so the footer will have some few classes, and the classes would be, it will have a background of black, it will have a white text, it will, the text size would be Excel, and a vertical padding of say 10, and it will have a horizontal padding of say 24, and the display would be flex but in column direction. Alright, so inside the footer we have columns. So the first column would be, so inside the footer we have everything in the column direction. So the first item would be the link of the website. So let's do this, and the href would be home, and we will repeat this thing from here, this thing. So let's just actually copy this. Okay, so this will be the first item, and then we will have a div for the sitemap, you know, the links that we have at the bottom of the page, usually in the footer. For this we will use a grid display, and the grid would have 3 columns, so we will do cols 3, and it will have 3 rows, you know, grid row 3, and the grid will have a gap of 5, and it will have a top margin of 10, and the maximum width that this this section of footer will take would be around 3 XL, and you can experiment around it. So right now what you can do is type in anchor tabs for link, but we are not actually creating any of these links, so I will be using h1, but obviously you will be using actual links here in a real case scenario. So we'll be creating careers, about us, and then we will have API maybe, and maybe media, contact us, I don't know what else. We can have privacy policy, and then we have partners, vision, maybe anything obscure like project whisk, I don't know what it is, I've just put it randomly. And if you save it, let's see what we got. So yeah, it's looking like a sitemap, but these are not links. You can use the real links if you want. Okay, so now that we have this thing running, at the bottom we will have another div. Inside this div, let's give it a few classes, and the classes would be margin y of 10, and then we have a text of small text, and the maximum width it can take is going to be 2 XL, and inside that we will write anything that we want, legal stuff. Channel 21 is a open media initiative by X Media G Corp. You can write anything you want. Actually, I'll just copy it. Okay, and now what we want is to have a copyright sign for this type and an apostrophe, and you can write shortcuts here. So if you write a copy, this will create a copyright sign. Let's see in this work. So you see this copyright sign, that's how you create it. And also we want a space, but the space doesn't work in a HTML tag, so you can write and non-breaking space and then apostrophe. So this will create a space. And now what you can do is use JavaScript to get the latest date. So use new date function and get full year, and let's see if this works. Yeah, so 2020, this works. This will update it each and every year. Okay, so now that we have our footer ready, we have our nav bar ready, all we need to write is the inside content